I'm Lizzie and this is Lizzie Reads and welcome to my Thrillerathon Wrap Up. So basically, as usual, my TBR was a complete fail. I only read 2 books, one of which was on my TBR, the other one wasn't. Oh well, I guess. It's still Sunday, but I've decided to stop Thrillerathon now just because I'm not going to read anymore, especially not a thriller anyway, just because I want to, there are certain books that I put on hold that I want to finish reading before I get, there are certain books I put on hold that I want to finish reading before February finishes, or at least, like, you know, get quite near the end of. I'll link Harriet's videos and channel down below. She organises Thrillerathon. I'll talk about first and foremost the physical book that I read, which is The Good Daughter by Karen Slaughter, and I suppose this could count for the challenges. Read the thriller you're most anticipating, read the thriller you most recently added to your TBR, read the thriller with the best cover, and revisit a thriller book or author. So that's quadrupled up those challenges to make this book at least some of the challenges completed. And yeah, so I read this. I've stayed up till midnight last night finishing it. I read the last 300 pages in like pretty quick succession, and yeah, so I'll just tell you about it. It's about 2 girls, they're girls at the beginning of the book, called Sam and Charlie. They have a mum and a dad, and their dad is a defence lawyer, and he's a pretty controversial one in small town America. He essentially defends those people that everyone else thinks are scumbags, etc., just because he thinks they have a right to have good, you know, just general defence, human rights and stuff. Yeah, he's a defence lawyer, their dad's a defence lawyer, and he gets entangled in some pretty gruesome cases, and their house has just been burned down, so they've moved to a farmhouse nearby that they acquired cheaply and quickly, and there's a tragedy that happens there. And it's set 28 years later, and it's a horrific tragedy. You get it all detailed in the first sort of like 30 pages, which is interesting, and I'll just say, I won't say too much about what happened, because I feel like you can get that from the book yourself, but it's about 28 years later, and one of the daughters stays in the small town and the other one leaves the small town, and it's kind of like, which one of them is the good daughter? And there's a school shooting which happens in the present day, which one of the daughters is linked to by being a witness, and she, I don't know how to... This brings back a lot of the memories from their traumatic past, and things sort of go from there. And I really enjoyed this. It was really interesting. Karen Slaughter writes excellent characters. They've got a really good character arc, and like, for example, Rusty, their dad, is really so much more than you first thought, and as the book progresses you're finding out more information about him, and each character is not what you take them for at face value. So I really enjoyed that. I thought it was really interesting. The plot was really engaging. Halfway through I thought I had the plot to a T. I thought I had everything about the plot. Obviously I was wrong, but I was expecting to be wrong. I would like to add, I was right about some things though. You know, close enough. And then, yeah, I really enjoyed it. The ending was satisfying. There was 2 sort of major conflicts in the story, and they were both wrapped up. One was wrapped up more, was more developed than the others, shall I say. But I think that's understandable due to the like context of the book. I really enjoyed it, and I thought it was really interesting, and I really would recommend it. It's not as gruesome as Pretty Girls by Karen Slaughter, which is the reason I've got this as challenge number 5, revisit a thriller author, but I found them both so compelling. But I think I like this one more because I like the characters in this, and there was something to root for them, and they were they were just very, very interesting, and you really wanted them to sort of have a good life. Then the second book I read, I decided I wanted an audiobook to listen to throughout the week, and I picked An Unkindness of Magicians by, let me have a look, Goodreads. Let me get Goodreads. It's cat something, but I can't remember what it is. Come on down. But look on my phone, but my phone's being used for a camera. Oh, 4 books behind my reading schedule. Quick! An Unkindness of Magicians by Cat Howard. It's An Unkindness of Magicians by Cat Howard. And I picked this up because I was looking on Scribd, which I've recently subscribed to, and it was under mystery and thrillers and crime recommended for you. So this was a fantasy, and I could see that from the blurb, and I thought, do you know what would be really fantastic is a thriller when I say thriller and then fantasy, I always go thriller and fantasy combined really well done, because I love thrillers, like but I really find them all consuming, and in terms of like when I read them, I read like one really quickly and then don't read another one for ages. But fantasy is my go-to genre. It's my absolute favourite. I enjoy it so much. I love everything about it. And I thought this could be something really, really like enjoyable for me. And it was really good. I really enjoyed it. I'll tell you a bit about it. It's set in New York City, and in this, magic is an exchange. So when you produce magic, it's set in the real world and magic is like hidden, that sort of scenario. When you produce magic, you exchange it for some sort of pain, like sometimes using magic can give you a headache, and more powerful magic, the more physical detriment it has to your body. And I really enjoyed it. I thought it was really interesting, and there are houses, and these houses literally embody magic. They do things for you. They won't they're like alive in a sense. But a house is kind of like I suppose, you know, like an ancient family. It's very like rich kid magic sort of thing. And every so often a turning is announced where the top families or anyone can enter, and it's sort of like I want to say a Hunger Games type situation, but it's not really. It's sort of challenges and battles, and then but at the beginning of the turning they're just friendly, and then there is a certain point when they become fatal, because this decides who's going to be like the leader of the unseen world, as they call the magical world, for the next approximately 30 years. So this was so interesting. There was so much to take in, but it was very short. It was 8 hours to listen to. I don't know how many pages it would have been. Oh, it says right here. The ebook is 352 pages. I don't know if that means anything. Oh, wait, let me change the... It was 350 pages, which is not a lot for a fantasy novel, actually. But I really found it engaging, interesting, and in terms of thriller, mystery and crime, it was thrilling, but not in the conventional sense, I guess. And there was crime. There was a lot of crime, and it could be very loosely fitted into that category. So I'm not sort of... It wasn't the best pick for Thrillerathon, but it was very interesting and a very good read. It was a little bit too short for my liking. I think it could have been developed a little bit more. Sort of the ending was slightly rushed in my opinion, but it's just because I wanted more, and I felt like the world building could have been sort of, I don't know, there could have just been a bit more. There was so much information in there that I just wanted it to be expanded. I don't know, it was good. I think that's a good thing. I wanted more, I guess. But yeah, so that's kind of a thriller, but not really. But I took the recommendation from Scribd, and yeah, I read it and enjoyed it. So I read 2 books this week. I'm thoroughly behind on hundreds of reading goals, and I'm behind on videos and, you know, all the usual stuff. But hopefully, yeah, you like this video and you want to chat with me in the comments. Did you participate in Thrillerathon? Have you got any readathons coming up? I have another one I'm going to participate on soon. It's the Femme Fatale readathon hosted by Jean from Jean's Bookish Thoughts. And right in a minute I'm going to film my TBR. So I'm going to drink this tea and I'll see you soon. Thank you very much. Goodbye.